Hi guys, welcome back to Nirmada Studios. Today, in this session, we're going to continue on with this character. Now, today I'm going to be working with reference. Now, the reason why is because I want to keep things more of in the natural, realistic realm. So when we do have reference, it does become very helpful when you're designing and creating things because it makes it more convincing for the audience or everybody else who's looking at your work to be more convinced that this character has life in it. So it's good to base your creations and your characters off of something that previously or does exist. Now, in this case, I'm trying to use reference to make sure that the alignment of the rib cage and the chest torso area kind of like lines up well and everything's symmetrical and looks more like naturally flowing. So we're just going to jump right into that, and I'm going to use the pencil to line out the spots where I could be referencing off of what I have and trying to sort of like tweak it in a way to keep it still in that alien, that monster-like feel, where it doesn't really look directly like a human's rib cage, but it is influenced from that. Okay, so let's get to that. At this point, I'm trying to find more of a symmetry in this character. So I'm going to draw a very light line right in the middle of his chest, coming all the way down. Just basically using this pencil to draw that line, splitting him in half to know where his center is. And from there, I'm just going to do little tick marks to know where the rib cage ends at the bottom. Now, as you can see right here, the flow of this rib cage is coming in this direction, which I've hinted out. Right over here. As I build the rib cage, I want to make sure that I have hints of where the muscle strands are coming from. So just want to do a light sketch mark just to give me a general idea of which direction these muscles are headed and how everything fits together. Now, sometimes these sketches do get a little messy, but it's all right, as long as they're there to remind us. Now, the pectoral muscles, I wanted them to kind of like reach down a little bit further than a normal human beings, because this is a creature. So we want to make things look a little bit bizarre as well, too. So we could have the freedom to kind of like create different type of muscle structures for this guy. 3, 2, 1, go. So now as I'm sketching out the muscular structure, I'm seeing certain spots that might feel like, okay, I might come in with an X-Acto blade or a razor blade to kind of trim out a little bit, just to redefine some of these areas. I might think of something like this spot right here that might need a little trimming, so I'm just going to put an X to remind me that, okay, that I might come back to readjust in some way. I don't know. I might even thicken up that neck, or I might deepen this crevice right here. Same thing right here. So I'll just add a little X mark to see what I might decide to do later along with that. Now, these muscle strands right here are more defined. I wanted to know in which direction these muscles are going, where their source is, where they're coming from. And the strenuous muscle fiber strand right here, it makes it look like it's stretching. So it adds a lot of more tension to your anatomy, which makes the piece a little bit more interesting. Okay, so now I have all my things marked out. I'll continue to add more clay, redefine some of this muscular structure, and work a little bit further on that rib cage. I'm gonna come in with a little bit of wetness, muddiness to kind of take down some of that hard angle stuff. Soften some of those edges. And when I brush, I want to brush according to the direction of the muscle strands. So flow in that direction. Some of this might feel a little bit too prominent. Come in, press it down a little bit, take away some of that hard edge, soften some of that up. And just give like enough of a hint. So, right now we're at a point where I'm pretty satisfied with what I've got going with the entire torso. The rib cage is kind of like you can see some of the rib structures and the muscle alignment along there. It looks a little bit more smoother because I've used the muddy version of the Nara Clay that I made earlier. And that kind of tones down a lot of the hard surfaces and smooths out everything. So I'm pretty glad with what I've got right now. Might come back and tweak a little bit just to make some sort of like adjustments to make sure that some of these lines are like taken down a bit, because you don't want anything looking too defined or too much of a hard surface. You want to make it look more organic and soft. Now I'm thinking the next stage will probably be like somewhere around here. We might focus a little bit more on like the muscle structure and how things are formed around the hips, moving down towards the legs, and then same thing with the shoulders, all the way upward towards the arms. And the face, that has yet to be determined because I'm still trying to conceptualize the actual shape that I want for this face. Other than that, I think we're in a good spot. So the next session, we'll just work on our way outwards towards the ends of the limbs. And yeah, that's the next round.